with episode 2 of Baking with Principal Kelleher. And today I'm going to be using this cookbook, which I have had for a very long time, and I think my mom and dad had this cookbook when I was a kid too, although it was a different version of it. And I'm going to be making banana bread. So I've learned a lot from the first time I tried baking on video, and I'm hoping not to repeat some of those mistakes and have an even better result this time. The other thing I'm doing is, last time I had my husband helping me with the recording, and this time I'm trying it by myself. So I've got the camera set up on a tripod, and it's not going to be able to move and follow me around, and so we'll see how this goes. So before I start, of course, I'm going to wash my hands, so give me 20 seconds. All right, my hands are clean. I'm going to turn to the page in my recipe book. And this is actually something that I've made before, and you might be able to tell because there's food, like dried food, stuck on the page, which means that I have spilled while I was cooking. All right, so I'm putting my recipe there, hoping it stays. And I've put out all of my ingredients in advance to make things easier for me and so you can see them all at once. All right, so I'm going to read very, very carefully. It says, in a large mixer bowl, combine 1 cup of the flour. So here is my large mixer bowl. And I'm going to measure out 1 cup of flour. So I've got my 1 cup, half cup, 1/3 cup, and 1/4 of a cup in order so you can see the sizes and which one is biggest. For me, it says 1 cup. Leveling it off. I'm going to read my directions again. I'm going to have to read these multiple times. So I am supposed to combine 1 cup of flour and 2/3 of a cup of sugar. So 2/3 is going to be 1/3 plus 1 more third. So that'll be my 2/3. And this is a 1/3 cup measured cup. So there's 1/3. Plus 1 more third makes 2/3. All right, I'm done with my sugar. Combine a cup of flour, sugar, baking powder is next. And it says 2 teaspoons of baking powder. There's my baking powder. 2 teaspoons. So I have a single teaspoon here and it's wet. I don't want it to be wet. If you use a wet measuring spoon with a dry ingredient, it sticks. So, all right, so how much? 2 teaspoons? Looking at it again, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. There's 1 teaspoon plus 1 teaspoon is 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now I'm supposed to add baking soda, and it says a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. So I have 2 choices actually. I could do a 1/2 teaspoon, or I might also know that a 1/2 teaspoon is the same as 2 1/4 teaspoons. Since I happen to have a 1/2 teaspoon, I'm going to use that. So I need 1/2 of a teaspoon. Okay, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And I'm supposed to add salt. And it says a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. A 1/4 or a 1/4, same thing. Here's my salt. And I'm adding a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All right. It says, in a large mixer bowl, combine a cup of flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. So I've got them all in here. Now I need to combine them. So combining doesn't mean doing anything with the electric mixer. Combining usually just means with a spoon or, in this case, I chose a spatula. All right, so now this is combined, and now I'm supposed to add some mashed banana. This is my favorite part. Favorite part. So when you make, I'm having some trouble. Okay, when you make banana bread, you want super ripe bananas. These are so ripe I would not be interested in eating them just as bananas, but they are perfect for banana bread, which is why I'm doing this. So you peel your bananas and you can just break it apart with your hands. You don't need a knife. And put that in a bowl. So it says 2 to 3 bananas. Since I have 3 bananas that need to be used today, I'm going to use all 3. Now you could mash with a fork. I happen to like my potato masher. And I get to squish and squish. If you have a little brother or sister, this might be the job that you give them too. So I'm going to smush it up. And use this to scrape it off a little bit. Squish it some more. And that's pretty good. You see that? All right, I spilled some. That's all right. I usually spill stuff, so I'm not hard on myself about spilling. It's just part of the process. All right, so it says add mashed bananas. So I'm gonna actually take this off so it's a little easier. So I'm adding my mashed bananas. And one of these scraping tools is super helpful, so I don't waste any. And then it says to add shortening, margarine, or butter. I happen to have this vegan margarine, so I'm going to use that. And it says a 1/2 cup. So again, I have 2 choices. I could use 2 1/4 cups, because 1/4 plus 1/4 is the same as a 1/2, or I can use a 1/2 cup. Since I have a 1/2 cup, I'm just going to go ahead and use that. And stick a bunch in here. Margarine is kind of nice because it's already soft. And I don't have to worry about softening up hard butter. So I kind of like that. And I have a friend who baked a banana bread recently using this exact stuff, this vegan margarine, vegan butter. It turned out really well. All right, so I'm adding a 1/2 cup of this. Throw that in. Well, I'm not really throwing it. I'm dumping it. I should be more specific with my language. And milk. And for milk, it says 2 tablespoons of milk. So I put my milk in here. I've got a tablespoon. So here's 1 tablespoon. And here's another tablespoon. I'm gonna move this out of the way, actually. So you can see it mixing. All right. So it says beat with an electric mixer on low speed until blended. Okay, putting that down, locking it, putting it on a low speed, and while that's going, I'm gonna put my banana peels in the compost. All right. Well, it's blending pretty well. That looks pretty good. And with this mixer, every once in a while I want to stop it and kind of scrape the sides to make sure it's all getting in there. Give it a little bit more. Oops. I keep making it go on high by mistake. All right, it's blended. And now I am supposed to beat it on high for 2 minutes. So I'm going to set a timer 2 minutes, and now it's on high. All right, while that's happening, I'm going to look ahead at what I'm supposed to do next. So it'll be adding eggs and the rest of my flour. So I've got my eggs ready, and oh, I've got a hard math problem here. The whole recipe is 1 3/4 cups of flour. I've already put in 1 cup. So how much more flour do I need? What kind of problem is that? I think it's a subtraction problem. So I needed 1 3/4 cups. I've used 1 cup, so that means I still need 3/4 cups. So I'm looking at what I have here, and I have a 1/4 cup, so I'm going to use 3 of these. I could also have done it another way. I wonder if you can figure out what the other way is, using different measuring cups. There's a way to do 3/4 cups using 2 measuring cups, but I'm going to just use this way. We've got another 50 seconds. Get my flour over here, and I think I need a knife to level it off. Get my milk out of the way so I don't spill it. Another 30 seconds. I'll get my first 1/4 cup of flour ready. All right, we're almost there. 19 seconds. Let's count backwards. 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Maybe you heard that sound there. All right, so I'm gonna lift this up, and I'm putting in 3/4 cups of flour. There's 1, 2, 3/4 cups. All right, and I'm also supposed to add 2 eggs. There's 1. Oops, almost dropped that one. That would have been sad. And this recipe doesn't call for anything else, but my daughter, Liz, who I talked about last time, has suggested adding a little bit of extra flavor. So I'm not even going to measure this. I'm just going to put in a bit of cinnamon. And she also recommends something called allspice. So I'm going to put in a little bit of allspice. And a little bit of vanilla. Vanilla is in a lot of recipes, and that's pretty tasty stuff. So a little bit of vanilla. All right. And how long am I supposed to mix it? Beat until blended. Okay, so I have to keep an eye on it, I suppose. So I'm going to put it, I think, on a medium. I don't think I want to overbeat it. Scrape the sides a little bit because I can see there's a lot of flour that I just added that's still stuck to the sides. All right, heat that up a little bit more. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now you have a couple of choices. If you want to add nuts to yours, you could. You can also add chocolate chips, which I love. I don't happen to have any chocolate chips right now because my friend used them up. But I do have nuts, and I love pecans. If you're a household that can have nuts, then this recipe suggests about a 1/4 cup. So I'm gonna take a 1/4 cup. And chopping nuts is not something you may do if you are an elementary school kid, unless your parents have given you permission. The knife you need is pretty darn sharp. So the nut chopping is a task I would ask a grown-up to do in your house, unless you have gotten permission. Never take out one of these knives without asking first, please. The other thing is I learned somewhere along the line this trick of putting this hand on top of the knife if you are chopping things, and that way there's no chance that my finger is going to get caught under this knife. All right, so I'm chopping this up. Because in my house we have no nut allergies, and my husband and I both really like pecans. So add those in, and it says to mix those, stir those in. So I'm going to take my pot, not my pot, what am I talking about? My bowl out and mix that up. That's looking pretty good. And now I'm supposed to pour it into a greased pan that is this big. So when I grease a pan, I like to use a paper towel. And I just stick the paper towel into the pan, and I rub around. It's super important to get all the corners, the bottom, and the sides. And if you don't want your banana bread to stick, you want to be able to see your butter or your margarine or your shortening everywhere. If it's really nicely greased, this should pop out super easily. So that's how it looks. Since this is paper and I just have food on it, I get to compost this paper towel. All right, now I'm ready to pour this in to my loaf pan. There we go. That's looking the way it's supposed to. I'm pretty pleased with this. Scrape as much as I can. I am tempted to taste it, but I've heard that that's actually not the best idea with the raw eggs and stuff. So, and even raw flour, they say, is not really all that good for you. So I'm going to resist that temptation and put it right in there. And right now it doesn't look great in here, so I'm going to pull that off the side and just smooth it a little bit so it looks a little prettier. All right, it is ready to go into the oven, and it's going to bake at 350 degrees for 55 to 60 minutes. So I will be back so you can see how it turns out. See you soon. All right, I'm back. This is going to be coming out of the oven in 40 seconds. I've got my toothpick ready. I'm going to stick the toothpick in and test it out. If it comes out with any stuff on the toothpick, it means I need to let it cook for a little bit longer. The range was 55 to 60 minutes. I put it in at 55. I always put it in at the low end of the range. See if that's enough. And if I need more time, I'll add more time. But it's safer than putting it in for the maximum amount of time, because that might end up overcooking. So I've got 9 seconds, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There it goes. All right, let's see. Came out dry. Awesome. So, close this. Turn off my oven. And remember I said if you grease it well, it should come out easily. So let's see how I did. Oh yeah. Awesome. So there it is. There's my banana bread. Looks pretty good. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for watching. Bye.